Percubaan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, hello guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Uh, I hope all of you still in safe condition, safe mode, and stay at home. Kita jaga kita. And I would like to thank to FYP coordinator, Electrical Engineering Technology Department, because invite me in sharing knowledge on thesis writing, how to write a good research analysis. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Muhammad Nur Hairul Hafizi bin Rohani, Senior Lecturer, School of Electrical System Engineering. I'm from Johor, 31 years old, married. Okay. I have 2 kids. Okay. Um, Actually, my research interest in high voltage engineering. So my research is a lot in the sensor development for partial discharge, signal processing which is location technique and detection technique for the partial discharge measurement. Okay, actually, what is the partial discharge? Partial discharge is a symptom before the breakdown happen in high voltage equipment. So I think this is my opportunity to share to you how to write a proper way, because maybe I have some experience, not a lot, but only more than 50 journal, include impact factor and Scopus journal. Okay, so let me let go to the next slide. Okay, so actually during your writing you should follow the guideline. So this is introductory part. You should have a title page, abstract, acknowledgement, table of contents, list of tables and figure. So the audience can follow your thesis in proper way if you following the guideline. We have the main body, which is the chapter 1, introduction, chapter 2, lecture review, chapter 3, methodology, chapter 4, result and discussion, chapter 5, conclusion, and last but not least, which is references and appendices. So today I would like to highlight in chapter 4 for result and discussion. Okay, I am for sure maybe some of you already done your project. So this is the good time for you to write, to discuss your result after you do a lot of analysis, or you have done your project testing and experimental work. Okay. Okay, actually in chapter 4 we want to present your data based on your experimental work. So every method you have been discussed in chapter 3. So this is the time for you to present your result in chapter 4 according to the experimental work. So in chapter 3, what you are doing, and chapter 4, it's what you get from the chapter 3. Okay, this is to answer the research question and to help determine trends and relationship among the variable. So I think for sure all of you have the some variable to analysis, right? So without the variable, it is very complicated to it is not easy to discuss your result, because if you have variable, so you can plot the data and then you can discuss. So for example, the variable, you change the value of voltage, maybe it's from 0 to 5 volt or 0 to 5 kV, for example. Uh, so that the variable, you change the parameters such as resistor, you change from 1K to 10K. So what happened to your result? So maybe your result will be increase or will be decreased. So for example, it is very easy. If you want to prove the Ohm's law, which is V equal to IR. So if you change the value of resistor, if you increase the value resistor, so you will know the voltage will be increase or decrease. Okay, so you can answer by yourself. Okay, okay, and then so for the result discussion also, you need to justify what do you get. Okay, for example, the Ohm's law. Maybe if you increase the number of voltage and what happened to the current, so you can support with the theoretical of Ohm's law. So before you present your work, you must know what is the isi tersurat in your result. And after that, you deeply analysis on your result on the isi tersirat and what happened, how your result like this, and how how. Okay, so you can uh, justify your result. Maybe you can support with the theoretical, and you can support with your previous work analysis. And this is some tips for you. Okay, not only you mention the isi tersurat, only you present your work. So this is the result increase, and this result is decrease without any explanation. So without an explanation, your reader maybe is not interested to read your work. Okay, okay, this is some cartoon. Okay, maybe relate to your life now. For the first, you got the data. Yes, finally you got the data. But after you got the data, what does it all mean? So you need to justify. So you can justify blah 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 blah. And for the final one, maybe in the presentation day, you maybe just discuss only 2 or 3 slides of your works. Okay, your findings. Okay, okay, you require to follow the step, which is before and after to write your analysis. You should determine the method of data analysis and determine how to process the data, and consult with the statistician, prepare the demo data. Okay, according to this one, determine the method of data analysis and determine the process data. Maybe some of you require the software or the technique. Maybe you can use a statistic. Okay, if you have plot the data, you require to use the statistic. So based on the statistic, they have a lot of technique. Okay, you can use maybe you want to find the max, mean, the median. Okay, and how to process the data. There are some tools for you. Okay, not only using the Excel, but you are required using, okay, like SPSS software. So you can consult with the statistician. Okay, in UNIMED, we have a lot of lecturer that expert in statistics. So you can find them and consult with them how to analyze your data. And then prepare the demi table. So before you start your work, you should have the demi table. What is your variable? And then you can insert the data. After that, you process the data, prepare the table and graph. So this one you should put in the chapter 4. And after that, analyze the interpret the finding. Consult again with the statistician and how maybe you already done the statistic analysis, so you need to consult. So how it happen like this? Okay, how many sample you required? Okay, and then the prepare for editing and prepare for present. Okay, the research analysis is relate with our maybe in Bahasa Melayu and English. We have been know about the 5 wife 1 husband, which is where, who, what, when, why, and how. And most of in the research analysis, you should require to answer the research question: how it happened, why it happened, why it increased, why. Everything is why. So you should discuss on that part. Okay. Okay, this is the step for presenting and analyzing your data. So you have a source to collect or obtain the data from primary, secondary source, and you have the data, sort the data through grouping, the scanning, the extra data, and deciding the required form to make the data comprehensible. So you require, maybe you have a lot of data, maybe only certain part you should put in your result. Maybe a lot of data is useless. Okay, maybe. Okay, and for the next part from the data, you should make a chart and graph to help add visual part and analyze the trend. And then the last part, you analyze why it happened. Analyze the trend and the relationship information to fulfill the objective. Okay, the art of objective, I think you should remove it. Okay, this is the example of graph. Here they have a bar chart. Okay, I think most of you already know about the bar chart. Okay, okay, the okay, these are one of the most widely used chart for showing the growth of a company over the period. This is an example. There are multiple options available, like stack bar graph and the option of displaying a change in numerous entity. So you can select the bar chart graph, which one is suitable with your data to present data. And then you have a line chart here. These are the best. They are the best for showing the change in population. For example, for showing the trends. Okay, they also work well for explaining the growth of multiple areas at the same time. Okay, maybe some of you is use this line graph. Okay, this line graph. Okay, but I think they have some. Okay, there are some tips for you. Do and don't for the line graph. For you don't do the left side here. You use the different, not different color, but I think it's the contrast. Okay, from the light green to the emerald green here. Okay, so if you want to stick in one color, you can replace the marks with the X or circle or star. Okay, if you want to stick the one color, and I suggest to you use the black color. And if you want to different color, it is okay, it's a normal, but it's a, you can stick it for the one marking point. Okay, like this one. Okay, this is the combo chart here. The combo chart is a combination with the different chart here. Okay, for this one, you can use the line graph, the combination with the line graph and the bar chart here. Okay, so they have a two y-axis, left and right side. Okay, so it is easy way to present your data. Okay. Okay, so let's go. We go for example. Okay, you can find this paper in the internet. Okay, you just type the title and optimization of electrical output power for bioelectric energy harvesting and energy harvester using different micro cantilever beam geometries. So actually, this research, the researcher want to analyze the electrical output power for energy harvester with different geometry. So they have some variable here. So let's we check it out. Okay. For the result discussion, I suggest to you to make a short introduction before you enter the discussion part. So make sure the audience or the reader or the panels can understand what you want to present in chapter 4. For example, like this one. Okay, result discussion, just only 2 or 3 sentences here. This section is divided into 3 sections, which are frequency resonant. Okay, let me highlight this one. Into 3 sections, which are frequency resonant, resistive load, and electrical output power result. So it is very clear, right? So once the reader read, so okay, they understand. This section they have 3 results, which is frequency resonant, resistive load, and electrical output power. And for this one, the corresponding result for PPG1, PPG2, PPG3, PPG3, and PPG4 are discussed in detail. So in this research, the researcher have 4 types of cantilever beam, is namely as PPG1, PPG2, PPG3, and PPG4. So the researcher will discuss in details, mean it will discuss every single and how it trend happen of his result. Okay, so after that you can write down to the next step, which is point 3.1, which is the frequency resonant result. Okay, so for the first, before you present your work, so you need to highlight what is the objective of your result. Okay, for this one, the proposed PPG sensor is purposely designed with different cantilever beam geometries in order to determine the lower frequency resonance. So this researcher doing the objective here, the purposely doing the different micro cantilever beam geometry is to determine the lower frequency resonance, because for this one, in order to harvesting energy, in the ambient frequency is lower than 200 hertz. Okay, so let's check it out then. Furthermore, a modification of length dimension is made. A change to width dimension has no significant effect on the frequency resonance. So according this one, some analysis such as change the width dimension is not significant to the resonant frequency. So you can justify why you not like this. So according the previous researcher, you can cite them why they want to do the analysis, because they have no effect. So this is not required to you redo back, because the result is same. So this paper, the analysis on width dimension is not proceed. Okay, so let's check it out. There are 10 samples. Let's continue. Okay, there are 10 samples of length dimension taken into consideration, starting from 1000 micrometer to 5500 micrometer, with 500 micrometer separation. So it is very clear. They have a variable here. So the variable is the length dimension of cantilever beam. The variable is start from 1000 to 5500 micrometer. So after that, the author want to showing this figure. So figure 3 depicts the influence of different length dimension to PPG sensor frequency resonance. So I want to share to you, you are required um, to explain first and then put the figure, and not is wrong when once you put the figure first and then the below is the explanation. You must explain first and then you can put the figure in table below. Okay, and not use the words below, above, and etc. You just mention the number of figure, the number of tables. You can use such as like this one, figure 3 depicts, figure 3 shows, figure 3 presents. Okay, this is the you can use, you can find the similarity word to to showing your figure here. Okay, Okay, so then we continue. From the plot result, the frequency resonance for the PPG sensor design are matched to the frequency target, which is less than 200 Hz at specific length dimension. So it is very clear, right? Okay, so I want all of you discuss like this one by one. This is very clear. Okay, so let's we continue. Okay, the frequency resonance is revealed the decrease when the length dimension is increasing. Okay, okay, you got it. So this is we call as the isi tersurat. You mention all everything what is inside your figure. Okay, so we continue. The PPG2 tends able to operate at the lowest frequency resonance as low as 52.77 Hz at the longest length dimension compared to other design. Okay, this is for the PPG2, and for the PPG3, the PPG3 offers second lower frequency resonance, which is 44.7 Hz, allow the PPG1 with 74.59 Hz, while PPG4 indicates the higher frequency resonance, which is 100 to 120.17 Hz. Okay, okay, for this one, this is the isi tersurat. Okay, fortunately, the frequency resonance for all four proposed procedures are less than 200 Hz. Okay, so for this one, okay, the main factor, okay, so we want to discuss the result. Okay, the main factor contribute to this condition is longer length dimension resulting low beam stiffness. Okay, so let's we discuss deeply. Okay, the beam stiffness is measured based on the induced stress at the beam fixed end, where the lower induced stress indicate the beam at lower stiffness. The lower stiffness allow the beam to swing easily, so you need to justify why. Okay, the lower stiffness allow the beam to swing easily when subjected to enough energy resonance. Moreover, okay, you add some more argument here. You can strengthen to the statement. Moreover, the lower frequency resonance is easily reachable when the beam stiffness is low. As to strengthen this argument, an analysis on length dimension against induced stress is made, and the result is clearly plotted in figure 4. Thus, from the result, the lowest induced stress is obtained at the longer length dimension. Therefore, both results in figures 3 and 4 prove the longer length dimension resulting a lower induced stress that offer lower frequency resonance. So it is very clear, right? So I think you should read carefully this slide, and you can compare with your analysis how you want to present your result. Okay, for the next example, okay, you can find this one in the activity explore. Geometrical shear impact on the performance of ABS-based coreless inductive sensor for PD measurement in high voltage power cable. Okay, this is my paper with the IEEE sensor journal. This is the impact factor journal. So this is the experimental result here. Okay, you can read carefully. Okay, we read together. For the experimental result, experimental evaluation of the RC sensor prototype were performed in laboratory in order to compare the sensitivity and bandwidth. Okay, figure 2 shows the measurement by RC1, RC2, RC3, and RC4 in time and frequency domain. Okay, based on the result presented in table 4, the sensitivity of the PD sensor RC1, RC2, RC3, and RC4 are depending on the highest positive amplitude of the PD signal measured. Okay, RC3, which has the cross section of rectangular shape, has the highest performance among the RCs in terms of sensitivity. Okay, this is because the RC has the widest cross-sectional area for more flux linkage compared to the RCs. Okay, so I would like to justify to strong this statement in 23. So I find the reference from the previous research in 23 state to achieve high of the optimal mutual inductance MC, the height of rectangular cross-section is between 2 to 4 times bigger to the width. Okay, so it is very easy, right, to make the audience. So it is very helpful to another researcher if they want to do the same research. So they will cite to you. So you already done your simulation work, your experimental work, and you get the result. So it easy to another audience, to panels, the reader understand what you have been done and what do you get. Okay. Okay, this is some example here. This is my FYP student. Okay, you can find it. This is the open access. The preliminary result on sensitivity of Rogoski called sensor design for the partial discharge measurement. Okay, this is the result here. Okay, so the first part, they have a introduction. Okay, generally factor like the number turns, height of core, diameter of coil, and diameters of wire can improve the sensitivity of our sensor. Hence, these factors are tested with different dimensions respectively. Okay, so this is the analysis on number of turn. During the RC sensor development, number of turn is important as it can improve the sensitivity. Nevertheless, the bandwidth will decrease with a large number of turns. Besides, the size of the RC sensor will increase, which can limit the possible location where the sensor can be applied. The graph, the graph from figure 2 shows the mutual inductance is directly proportional to the number of turns. Hence, 10 turns of winding are chosen for the sensor prototype from table 1 to get wide bandwidth sensor. Okay, this is the result. They have a table. This one the graph. Okay. Okay. So this one is the variable. The the student is change the number of turn, and they fix the inner radius of the sensor, outer radius of the sensor, height, and this is the result here. Okay. So after that, he plot the graph and like this one. Okay, I think that's all. If you have any question, don't shy to ask me, or you can direct PM me. You can ask, how about your result? Maybe we can discuss together. So if you want to more in detail about the research analysis, you can get the number from your FYP coordinator. Okay, so I think that's all. So I'm sorry if any mistake from me, and I hope all of you enjoy with this video, and I hope all of you can write a proper result discussion and score for the FYP subject. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.